Welcome everybody to our exciting Rubin Dream Job webinar today. Super excited about this one. A lot of energy and hearing from a lot of teachers emailing us leading up to this one. A lot of interest. I'm Danny Rubin. I'm the founder of our company. We're based in Virginia Beach, Virginia. We provide online resources to help students with their communication skills. And one of the ways we do that is through our Dream Job webinars, where we help students learn about communication skills through in-demand and exciting jobs around the country. And there's no job cooler today than a drone pilot. And we've got one of the best with us today, a veteran of the industry, great guy, amazing stuff to share. I can't wait to get into the conversation, Jimmy Olivero. And Jimmy, thank you for taking time out of your day. We will dive in with you in just a moment. Before we do that, we're trying this year to do special partnerships with our webinars, and we have great friends at Business Professionals of America, BPA, which, if you're not familiar, is a student organization that helps students create business clubs in their classroom and compete on business skills locally, statewide, and nationally. And we're thankful that Christina Kearns from BPA is here with us to share with all of you a little bit of information about BPA in case you're not familiar. And by the way, if you are familiar with BPA, if you're even involved in BPA, can you go to the chat right now and tell us? Any BPA folks in the crowd today? If not, Amanda Watts says BPA rocks. All right, I love it. All right, so Christina, the floor is yours. Take us through the latest and greatest with BPA.
Great. Thanks so much for having me. Like he said, BPA is the leading career and technical student organization for students that are interested in business, IT, finance, entrepreneurship, digital communication, and other related fields. Our mission is to develop and empower student leaders to discover their passion and change the world by creating unmatched opportunities in learning, professional growth, and service. So our footprint, we're all across the nation and across the globe. And we actually just got a couple new chapters over in the British Columbia and some other places over in Europe. And so a really exciting time for BPA. We're consistently growing. But right now we have just over 51,000 members at middle school, high school, and college, as well as educators in over 1,500 chapters. And so a great time to be a part of BPA, and we're really growing and just excited to see that growth and the difference that BPA is making across the globe. So BPA provides unparalleled opportunities for growth. Like I said, whether networking with industry professionals, obtaining world-class certifications, participating in our leadership conferences, or engaging in community service programs. And so, for instance, I'm going to go into our competitive events because that seems to be one of the most popular reasons to partner with BPA. And so through our competitive events, students gain real-world experience, sharpen their leadership skills, and compete in over 100 different competitive events that mirror workplace scenarios. So in our workplace skills assessment program, we have 6 different assessment areas: business administration, digital communication and design, finance, health administration, management, information systems, and management, marketing, and communications. And so some of the competitions that might be most appealing to this particular group of audience, we have computer animation, graphic design production, video production team, Java programming, Python, computer security, interview skills, small business management, esports, social media, and much more. And so I encourage you to take a look. We have all of these listed on our website, so you can kind of get a better idea of what we offer. Here's just a quote from one of our students talking about the difference that BPA has made in his life and helped him prepare for his future steps, for his future career, and prepared him as a better leader. I'm going to show you a quick video that gives a summary of BPA's impact, and I figured it'd be best to hear from students directly.
What inspired me to join BPA was all of the older kids in my high school. I saw how they carried themselves and how confident they were when they walked into rooms and just how they addressed people and how they were able to go up and speak to anybody. And that's what I wanted to do, and I knew that that's how I wanted to be when I grew up.
I just think that the networking and getting to know people within the BPA community is just been hands down my most favorite part of being in BPA.
You have no idea the amount of growth that you will see in yourself in just the first year of your membership, whether it being able to go speak to people, whether it be able to lead a team or even work in a team. Just do it. You will not regret it, and you will have so many benefits.
Awesome. You want to wrap
And
it
so
up?
I have what?
Go ahead. Go
Yep.
ahead.
So my last thing is just joining BPA not only enhances your resume, but it truly builds the skills and then the confidence you need to succeed now and well into the future. So I encourage you to scan one of these QR codes. I can also put these links in the chat so you can learn more information about starting a chapter or getting into it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Christina, for that information. Please stay with us, enjoy, and be part of this conversation. And by the way, Tammy Perez in the chat said that looks like one of her students is the National Secondary Secretary of VPA. So how about that?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, fantastic. So again, thank you so much for the information. We love working with you and your team, and I hope that this was informative for everybody else out there. So with that, let's switch over to the topic of the day, which is drone pilot with our special guest, Jimmy Olivero. Jimmy, start off by telling us your background, your career, sort of bringing us up to today, and then we'll get into your work.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, my name is Jimmy Olivero. Born and raised in New York City. And I started, you know, in really in my career, I started in sales and marketing, basically. Moved into online internet marketing. But a friend of mine, and I was always involved in photography and video just as a hobby at the time, you know. A buddy of mine that I grew up with in Queens, New York, he was experimenting with cameras inside of that he was putting inside of remote controlled airplanes and helicopters. And he told me that he thought he had a viable business idea. So I joined his startup. And when I first joined his startup, it was not as a drone pilot. It was actually in sales and marketing. So I had to go out and meet people and introduce people to the technology. And when we talk about drones, I'm talking about the year 2007 to 2010. I mean, just think about where we were at that time, or where some of you were at.
Early.
Yeah, early. And I don't even know. Maybe some of you weren't even born yet. I don't know. But
Probably.
but in 2007, 2010, we were flying single rotor remote controlled helicopters with cameras in it and approaching real estate companies, commercial and residential, approaching movie studios and news gathering studios in New York. And we started making, progress and introducing people to the technology. And we were getting jobs all over the United States, you know, from New York City to California. And we were just expanding and growing really fast. And eventually I moved up to a drone pilot. And that's where a lot of the excitement started, you know, flying different jobs. Mainly we started in film and TV. We actually, my partner at the time flew a drone and delivered a newspaper via drone to the set of Good Morning America.
Wow.
So he flew, it was live recorded on Good Morning America, flew the drone with the newspaper attached to it and landed, and we delivered a newspaper. So we were showing the technology of drones even at that time. Maybe this was about 2013 at this point.
Wow.
Yeah. So this job led us to so many different fun jobs. One is with Lego. Lego approached us because the new Superman movie was coming out, and they introduced a new Superman minifigure. So they sent us like 20 Lego Superman, and they wanted us to put it on one of our drones, first person view, like in front of the camera, and fly it around different spots in New York City. So that was a fun project.
How cool is that?
And
raise your hand
Lego
if you think
used
that
it.
would be a fun project, students. If that would be fun for you in your class, raise your Zoom hand. That sounds such a fun day.
Yeah,
Flying around New York City.
it was great with the Superman in front of the camera, looking like he was, you know, positioning him like he was
How
flying.
cool.
So
How cool.
that was great, and they used that in their social media platform to engage their younger clients and Superman fans. So
Okay.
yeah.
And so, and fast forwarding to today, you have a thriving business, and drones are ubiquitous now. They're not from 2007. Nobody knew exactly what it was. Now it's commonplace and used in marketing in many different ways. And we'll get into that. And as we talk, I want to now invite the teachers and the students, go to the Q&A along the bottom of Zoom, start putting your questions. When you put your question, put your name and your school so we can give you credit. And we want to know what you want to know about drones, and we'll ask Jimmy. So Jimmy, today, tell us about your company, and I'm going to share first your company website. Tell us about
Yeah.
Lyfted Media. Tell us who's on the team, and like, what does an average day look like for everybody?
Yeah, so basically, I started, I broke away from my partner, started my own company in 2017, and now I'm the sole owner of Lyfted Media. We are a drone service provider. And the typical everyday, oh yeah, there's a picture of some of our first drones. So, people can see, and
Well,
there's
yeah,
a
we'll
there's
come
a
to that.
website.
I
Yeah,
want
yeah,
to get
there's
to
our
this
website.
for some of this video. Go, keep talking.
Yeah, so basically, we provide drone services to the film and TV industry, but also to the commercial construction industry, any type of inspections. There's so many things now. Drones have gone beyond the film and TV and creative side, and now people are pressure washing with drones, which we've done that. People
Wow.
are, yeah, inspecting underground pipes and tunnels with drones. Um, Power companies and energy companies are hiring drone pilots in house to inspect their power lines, inspect their wind turbines, inspect their solar panels, opening up jobs now within companies. So the drone industry has really, really grown to not only it's starting to be commonplace now. Companies are actually having a drone pilot in house job. Before you may have hired, subcontract, but now it's
Yeah,
in
yeah.
house. So yeah, the everyday Lyfted Media, what we do every day is, we provide top notch customer service. So we're always in touch with our clients. We respond to every inquiry via by phone and email. One of the clients that hired me said, Jimmy, the only reason why we hired you, not only because your website looks great and your work looks great, but you actually picked up the phone and you called us and you talked to us. You know, uh,
Oh,
a lot of people today, and I understand there's nothing wrong with the internet and things like that. We communicate via email, social media, but old school, pick up the phone and build rapport with
ooh.
your clients. Yeah, very important.
Okay, okay. We have a lot of questions from students already, but let me just dig on this for a second. And by the way, students, what we do in here, if you're new to us, raise your hand if you're new to us. If this is your first time at our webinars, we talk about a person's job and we talk about soft skills, employability skills. And we also do what I'm doing right now, which is called asking follow-up questions. So Jimmy said something interesting about old school skills on the phone, or how he often lands business. So I'm going to do what's called a follow-up question and ask more information about that topic because now I'm curious. And it's a great skill to show curiosity. So Jimmy, let's talk about that because a lot of students here, they would prefer not to use the phone. They'd rather text, right? Go on Instagram or go somewhere else, just write somebody. Talking on the phone is a whole different mindset. So why is the phone critical? And what are some of your techniques when you're speaking on the phone?
Great question. So the phone is critical because it helps you build rapport with the client. It helps you understand the client's needs better than what the email says. So clients come to us via the website. They will leave a inquiry, a brief description of what they're looking for, and their phone number. If I see their phone number, I'm calling them right away. Because I want to talk to them. I want them to talk to me. I want them to hear, about who we are and what we do. But more, I want to listen to what their needs are and how I could help them. So it's very important to pick up that phone, talk to the client, understand their needs, and you build rapport. And honestly, you have a higher likelihood of getting hired if they hear your voice.
Wow.
and things like that. You definitely, in my career, it has definitely worked.
Students, I hope you're hearing that. You have a better chance of landing the client if they hear your
Yes.
voice. That's amazing advice. Christina, I want to know from the BPA side, how do you ensure that students are learning speaking skills and being comfortable talking to people, not just sitting behind a computer?
Yeah, well, one of the things that we offer, and like I said earlier, all those different competitions, you have the ability to do extemporaneous speech competitions or prepared speech or interview skills. So many of those back and forth questions not only will prepare you for client meetings, but when you're interviewing for admissions interviews in college or interviewing for your first job, and all along will prepare you, or just how to speak on the phone. So many people don't know how to speak on the phone in general. They're just preparing you for how to order a pizza on the phone. Like all of that builds your confidence and gets you
Yeah.
used to it and prepares you long term.
Thank you. Thank you for that perspective. So, all right, Jimmy, we got a lot of questions here. They started flying into the Q&A as soon as I offered that. So, one question, I want to make sure I get proper credit. Oh, where did it go? Um, the question is, what's your equipment? I think, by the way, for students who are in classes with drones, tell us that in the chat. Who's here in like drone specific classes? And Jimmy, tell us, what is your technology today? What kind of drones does your team use?
Okay, awesome. So we use a lot of drones made by DJI, which is the number one drone maker in the world. They have some of the top sensors and the best types of drones that you could fly. So we use the Inspire 2, the Inspire 3, the Mavic series, and also we use FPV drones, which is first person view drones, where you put on a pair of goggles. So you're basically transported into the cockpit of this little drone, which allows you to fly closer, faster to the action. So we use that for car commercials that we shoot. But yeah,
Okay,
we use a lot of DJI drones, and
DJI.
we also use some drones from Free Fly Systems, which is a drone company out in the West Coast in Washington State, and those are heavy lift type drones that can carry heavier cameras. Um,
Thank
if,
you.
if productions require a film camera, we can fly those as well.
That question, by the way, was from Zane and Trace High School, I believe, if I got that right. So I want to give credit. A lot of students are also asking, let's see, Kelly Patterson asked, Kelly Carr, probably someone else, how fast do drones fly, or how fast can they fly?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are some, there are rules and regulations that are put together by the FAA. But drones can fly from 30 miles an hour up to 100 miles an hour more. It just,
Wow.
depends on what you're using them for. But
100 miles an hour?
yeah, you can fly FPV drones pretty fast. If you see, ESPN puts on some they have something called the Drone Racing League. It's not an ESPN organization, but you can watch some of the races on ESPN, and they can hit top speeds, of maybe over 99 to 100. So it's pretty fast. Yeah, so these drones, I use drones more cinematically, so we're not flying as fast like that. We're trying to provide cinematic shots that can, top maybe 30 miles an hour, but also you can fly 10 miles an hour.
There's a question. Well, a couple things I want to just point out, because Natalie Johnson said in the chat that she used to work in human resources and they received numerous applications online, and the individuals that called got a return call.
Yeah,
so once again, the phone makes a huge difference. And we have students and teachers sharing. I see Adam Schlosser, Newbie and DJI. We use Bird Surgeon. We use the Mini 3 Pro and the Parrot Mambo indoor drones.
Yeah.
Amy Sudgeon, we use DJI Mini Pro 3 and Co-Drone EDU indoor drones.
Awesome.
So you know all of that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And you also, again, I'm going to do it again, students, a follow-up question, because you mentioned the words FAA. Can you explain what that is and how the FAA plays a significant role in flying drones?
Good question. So the FAA is the Federal Aviation Administration. They're the governing body of our airspace, the United States airspace. So they govern the planes and helicopters, and there's a whole set of laws and rules that go when you are flying manned helicopter and manned airplanes. So when drones came about, they had to do something. You know, they realized, okay, we have another type of aircraft in our airspace. How do we regulate that to decrease any type of, collisions or avoiding that? You don't want a collision, but you want to avoid collisions. So they had to govern and create a set of rules and regulations for drone pilots. We were there in the beginning when they had something called a 333 exemption, where you actually had to be a pilot to fly a drone. Then they moved away from that to a Part 107, where now you go take a test, maybe like for $175 at your local. You know, every city and state has a local type of airport where you can take this test, and you study, you take the test, and you get a 2-year license to fly a drone. The license doesn't mean you know how to fly a drone. It just gives you the opportunity to fly a drone and make money from it. So if you wanted to fly a drone in your backyard for fun, you don't need a license. But if you wanted to fly a drone and take a picture of a house for sale and sell it to the realtor, you would need a license to do that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And I want to share some of your videos, Jimmy, in a second. But Christina, within BPA, what are the opportunities to learn like video work? It doesn't have to be drones, but like videography or photography. What are some opportunities within the club where the students can touch on that?
Yeah, so a lot of those can be incorporated into the different competitions. We do have a video production team. We have a broadcast team competition. So there are opportunities within the competition space. And then there's also opportunities in our virtual space too. There's challenges and competitions that are totally virtual. So you don't have to actually compete at the state or regional level. You can come to the national level and submit something online. Like we have esports and some other ways there. But a lot of it has to deal with what's being done in the classroom. You know, each BPA chapter has to work on fundraising and community service. And so there's ways to incorporate all of that in there, whether that's doing video work for a local nonprofit or doing creating a video for your chapter to work on advocating and fundraising. And so lots of different opportunities and in vastly different ways.
Thank you. Very helpful. All right, Jimmy, I know you sent me some stuff, and the coolest one, right? Let's get into this because this is just so awesome. Anybody here? Let me go to my chat. Is anybody here a fan of the NBA or NHL by chance? Any hands up for NBA, any or a concert? Because this is the most famous arena in the world, Madison Square Garden, and Jimmy had a super cool opportunity there. Jimmy, tell us what you did at MSG, or should I do the video first, or just maybe set up the clip?
Okay, so yeah, you know, when I started my company, I started off with this contract with Madison Square Garden, where they approached me looking for a pilot to help engage fans during the Knicks games and the Rangers games that are sitting in the higher seats area. The seats in the higher bowl, they call it. You know, and they came up with a solution to have a flying orb. So this is what we did. We were contracted by Madison Square Garden to operate an 8-foot diameter flying orb with a camera on it, a live broadcast camera, which is a GoPro, where we just, connected receivers to their main video production hub. It allowed us to broadcast live from the orb. So it was an amazing opportunity to fly in the world's most famous arena. And yeah, here's the video.
Play a little bit of
press play. Yeah, press play.
You know, hear that? Yeah. Well, that's,
There we
I
go.
mean, students, let me see students some hands. If you think that'd be a fun day at the office in head,
Yeah.
because really cool. And Jimmy, tell me also about the work you've done with TV channels. I know you've worked with Netflix, you've done stuff with A&E. Like, tell me about some of those experiences. What's it like being part of a film crew and being there for drone services, sort of a part of a much larger operation?
Yeah, so that's a great question. We have worked with NBC News, ABC News to help gather news through the air. One assignment I was sent to not these hurricanes and floods recently, but several years ago in North Carolina there were floods and downed trees and down roads. They sent us out to produce like live broadcast videos. So while I was flying, we were able, all the way in North Carolina, we were able to produce a live feed to New York City newsrooms,
Wow.
show them the devastation as we were flying. So, yeah, so that was great to do news gathering, but we also worked on TV shows like Beachfront Bargain Hunt, which is a real estate TV show about couples looking for
Anybody seen that
affordable.
show?
Yeah,
Beachfront Bargain Hunt? Go ahead.
yeah. And then we worked on Drain the Oceans with National Geographic. It's a show that looks for, sunken ships and ship battles, So we worked on shows like that and Storage Wars. We worked on a lot of reality TV, even providing aerial footage for the Kardashians for their show. So there's a lot of ways to use drones, but yeah, a lot of TV shows. And what's great is you get to see your work on TV.
Yeah.
You get to see your name in credits, which is important. It helps build your credibility and helps lead to bigger relationships and more jobs.
So
So
cool.
yeah.
Really, really, really cool. And I want to get to some more of these questions. We have a lot of questions in the Q&A. Diane Crawford asked,
Mhm.
how can students get involved now? Let's say their school doesn't have drone classes or drone technology available. What are some ways that students can get experience in the industry? Do you recommend students come and like shadow like your operation? Do you welcome that kind of thing? Or like how can students get interested if they can't afford the technology on their own, but they want to try it? What would you suggest?
Okay, so a number of things I suggest. If you can afford a small drone to fly, then great. That's one way to get started. It's learning how to fly yourself. Now you can do that with a drone, or you can just buy a remote control and plug it into your computer and play something. There's something called Steam. I'm sure people know it's a place where you can play video games online. They have drone related games and tutorials that you can play on there. That helps you learn how to fly a drone. You practice on a computer in a simulator, and when you save up your money, buy your own drone, you go out in the field and you do exactly what you learned on the computer. So that's a way to get started.
Can you tell us again the name of that gaming
Steam,
platform?
Steam, Steam.
Steam, STEAM.
EAM. Yeah, the kids probably know it. But
Just thought I
yeah,
heard, yeah.
yeah, it's a great place. You can go on there and get a drone simulator and just get a cheap remote control, plug it into your computer, and you can learn how to fly there. That's one way to do it as well. Also, any local drone camps, colleges may have drone days. The FAA has an actual drone safety day every year, and we participated in one in Virginia at the airport where we flew drones and FPV drones. So you can go to these things for free to learn about drones. Now, if you want to get into the drone industry, here's a little bit of advice. If I don't care if you fly a drone for 5 minutes or 30 minutes, you need to write that down. Keep a logbook of your flights, whether you have an app that can do that or just old school traditional, buy a logbook on Amazon and say, write the date. I flew the drones 5 minutes in this location. The next day, I flew the drone for a half hour. That's going to matter because
Why does that matter?
when somebody comes to you and says, "What kind of experience do you have flying drones?" Well, thank you for asking. I have over 500 hours logged of flying drones, and here's my logbook. They're going to want to see that. That's an important thing, an important measurement to have. Um, flying drones. Now you may crash. Of course, you may crash while you're flying. No big deal. It happens. But you want to log everything, and then it's just like a resume. It basically is a resume.
That
Um,
is such
yeah,
great advice. I love the practical advice here. Any students already keeping a logbook of their flight times if they're working on drones? I think that is amazing advice
yeah,
because if you're learning along the way, it's probably good for any industry really to say I've spent X amount of time doing the thing I want to be hired for. But Amy Sutton says we log all of our flights in our class.
smart.
So really, really great. I want to switch gears one more time back to the people skills because you're not just a drone operator, you're a business owner, right? So outside of the phone calls to like land the business, how do you engage with customers, especially because you want like repeat business? You want the same customer to come back to you because they liked working with you. So what do you do on the customer relations side to maintain a great relationship so that they're like, we're calling back Lyfted and Jimmy. We love working with those guys.
Yeah, that's a great question. That's because if you want customers to be loyal to you, you have to initiate that. And I initiate that by over communication. I
Hmm.
will, yeah.
Example of that. How do you
An
over communicate?
example of that is when they send in a lead, you immediately call them. That's not over communication there, but that's the start. You get the information, you send an estimate. Once you send the estimate, you call back. Just want to make sure you receive the estimate. Do you have any questions or concerns at this time? How can we help? And how can, I ask people, what can I do to get the business today? So I ask them straight out sometimes. Once you secure the job, you communicate on the dates, communicate on the scope of work. Once the job is complete and you deliver the final product, you communicate on how did everything go, how was the workflow, how was the experience with Lyfted Media, did the video that we produced for you, work for you, and then once they give you happy marks and high fives, what else can we do for you? What are your marketing plans for the coming year?
Hmm.
Uh, who else in your company needs video production? And then later on, once they use you for a couple of jobs, can you please submit a review on Google? And do you know any other businesses that can use our services? And honestly, if you follow those steps, you are going to get good results. It's not going to work every time. Not every customer is going to come back, but you have to continue with the same plan, no matter who they are.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so that's how we do it. My job is to not only secure the initial business, but to go deeper into their needs because we don't always fly drones. Sometimes I man a ground camera. I have a team that produces videos with traditional cameras that we use. So there's ways to also provide other services to clients.
That, that
And it,
this
yeah,
is excellent. I mean, really excellent. I really want students to go back and watch those last 2 minutes because he just lays out exactly how you build a business and how you maintain customers. And Christina, I see you nodding. How much of this sort of overlaps with BPA, the importance of over communication?
So much of it. I mean, from building relationships with your teachers and school administration, because many times when you want to start a chapter, you have to advocate for that. And so there's follow up to it, there's constant communication. And even with retaining members, if you're a student officer, you have to communicate with them and build those relationships, build relationships with those in your community to help provide workshops, mentorships, programs. And so all of that at the chapter level then prepares you for your competitions. And thus that prepares you for the next stages of whatever your future career holds. So it all flows into building those soft skills as well as those hard skills. And so much of what we concentrate on is the soft skills first, which lead into the success in those hard skills. So you can't have one without the other.
Right. Everybody stay put. I'm going to take a quick aside and I want to offer to the teachers and students here a free opportunity from our team that flows right into this conversation of over communication and professional communication. And then we will start to take some final questions for Jimmy. So everybody hang here. And Jimmy, I want your opinion on what you're about to see too. So our company, we're really big on helping students communicate professionally. Teachers, can you show any hands if your students ever write you and the email looks like a text message? Emails that look like they're texting. I see a lot of hands flying up. So we've developed a tool that we are happy to offer to everybody here today for free for your classroom. It is called Propel, and it is an extension for Gmail and Outlook. Can everybody tell me in the chat, what does your school use, Gmail or Outlook? And as you do that, I'll get this short video to show you so you can see what this product is all about. And if you'd like to use it, I'll explain when the video is over. Okay, so everybody watch my screen and observe how this tool works. Let me show you our new Propel email etiquette tool. When we hit compose, we're shown a pop-up form which guides the student to fill in all the important sections of the email from the subject line to the conclusion with a read aloud function in every step. And for schools that use Outlook, we have Propel there too. We need a subject line. The student wrote question, lowercase q. We then need to address the person formally, but we're just going to write, hi, teacher. Student wrote good morning with a lowercase g and a sentence with no period. What's the purpose of the message? I have a question about my geometry assignment. I'm stuck on problem 3. I can't find the answer. 3 question marks. Not great. The conclusion, it's not formal, THX. Then we hit review my email. The words are formatted in the email. Check out the right side. We have light bulbs with more suggestions. By the subject line, your subject line is too short. Capitalize the first word in proper nouns. So we want the student to come over and change the subject line. Address the teacher with a formal title. Hi, Miss Smith. Capitalize the first word of a sentence. We want the student to come over, capitalize. Well, what about the end of the sentence? We're missing a period. Place the period. What about these 3 question marks? That could be unprofessional. Remove 2 of them. And finally, the THX, also not professional. Write out the word thanks. Propel teaches a student how to write an email, and the student does all the work. Okay, let me pause this. Turn off my share. Now, let me just ask Jimmy first. Jimmy, what do you think of that tool as a way to help students learn how to be professional when they communicate with business people?
Yeah, that was great because professional communication skills are needed in this industry. And all industries, really. We have to know how to communicate effectively to our customers, ask the right questions. I mean, I see a lot of mistakes that I make in some of my emails. I always reread them. Sometimes I ask my wife to read this email, and she picks out some things. So it's important to communicate, and that's a great tool to learn how to do it and correct mistakes.
Thank you for saying that. So let me finish out, and we'll share one more screen, and I'm going to tell everybody how to get it. So if you are a teacher watching this and you would like this tool at no cost for your classroom, I'm going to put a link in the chat right now to our calendar tool. I want you to book a 10-minute meeting with our team over the next week. We will meet with you and give you this tool to use with students, and they can start working on their email writing right away. So look in the chat right now for this link. Jump on it before the calendar fills up, and we only put a week of dates out there. And we will provide this tool to your school, and you can start showing this to your teachers and your administrators to help students, middle school, high school, post-secondary, learn how to communicate professionally, because it's so critical. Jimmy's telling you, you can't just be good at drones. You can't just like STEM. You have to know how to talk to people, or you will struggle to secure or retain business. So please take advantage of that. And as you do that, I want to take a couple more questions for Jimmy, and we'll wrap up in the next few minutes. I know everybody's kind of coming and going with classes. Jimmy, we had a question from a few different people. Brennan T asked, how often do you crash your drone?
Well, I don't crash anymore. I'll tell you that. But I mean, we've crashed sometimes never on set, never on an actual job. We've crashed during, like when we're training or practicing, or in the beginning of our career, people would send us drones. Hey, can you try this out? We made this drone. Can you give us a review after you fly? So they would send us a drone for free. We would go to the park and fly it, and it would just keep going, and we never see it again. And sometimes, one time, a drone, it just launched in the air and crashed into a tree, and there was some, maybe it was our error, I don't know, or maybe it was just a drone, but we've crashed at times, but thank God never actual on set while we're working.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you want to crash in sort of practice runs. You don't want to do it when
Yeah,
you're on a film set or a TV set. There's a tight
yeah,
timeline. They don't have time for your team to be screwing around, messing up, and
yeah. And
restarting.
remember, as when you're flying a drone, you're the pilot in command. So you can't say yes to everything the director wants. You have to know what's safe and unsafe, or know your capabilities. Also, more importantly, know the drone's capability.
Mm,
You have a director say, Jimmy, I want you to do a loop around this bridge and fly under it and over it. I like, you can't do that with this type of drone. It's not going to work. Oh, well, what can we do? Then you tell them what you can do. So there's ways to mitigate putting yourself in risky situations just by saying no, and just by education, to the client.
great.
Yeah.
One more question from the chat, which I wonder too. I think
Mhm.
the student's name is Yalun or Yalun, if I'm pronouncing it right. How do you fly the drone so smoothly? How does it just look so smooth in the air? What's going on there?
Okay, that's a great question. So you can actually do that too today. You know why? Because these drones today have GPS technology. So once you hover a drone in the air and you take your hands off the sticks on the remote control, it will just hover right in front of you. The drone will stay still while in the air right in front of you because it's connected to satellites. And the minute you push the stick forward, the drone will go forward. So now how much pressure you push, that's going to dictate how fast it goes. But you can actually fly really smooth just by giving slow, proper movements onto the sticks, and the drone will follow those commands. So today it's easier, I would say, to fly because of the safety technology that are in the drones. It's more important that we learn how to use the drone,
I
and
see.
how to do. There are flight maneuvers that you have to learn as you progress in your career. But flying smoothly, yeah, you just have to give the drone, you know, slow and slight inputs, very soft movements, not too hard, and it can fly smooth. So
Okay.
it's really cool. Yeah.
Thank you for that. I want to just ask Christina just to share one more thing. If you had 20 seconds to tell everybody about one thing they have to know about BPA, to tell it to them one more time.
It's not just about the competitions or the leadership or the community service. It's about the community. And people say, and we have a longer version. And this one girl wrapped it up and just said, "I found my family." It's a place for anyone and everyone. It's not just marketing, or it's not just business. There's a place for anyone, and it's where you can take your passions or your ideas or your interests and make it a reality. And even if it's not something you want to do in your future career, it will prepare you for it.
Thank you very much. I want to thank Jimmy. Can we have a round of applause in Zoom for Jimmy and Christina? But Jimmy, you've built such a great business. You do it at a very high level. It's your passion on display. It's all the things, and I'm grateful that you were willing to spend some time with us. Super, super interesting. Thank you, Christina, for sharing everything from the BPA side. We hope some students will take and teachers will take more information about that. And again, one last time, if you'd like and you haven't yet, if you'd like to try our email etiquette tool, we really, really want to get it out there. If you notice, it does not use AI. It doesn't write for you. It doesn't do all the work. It's really about teaching and learning, because you have to learn to do these skills on your own before you could have a technology do it for you. So please take advantage of this opportunity. We will see you again in a couple of weeks. We're talking to a dental assistant. So a hard turn again. We talked to all kinds of careers. But thank you for everybody being here. This was such a great conversation. The recording will be on YouTube in due time. Jenny, thank you for all of your sign language, and we appreciate it. We hope we see you again in a couple of weeks at our next Dream Job webinar. Have a great day, everybody.